Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. This is Joe with the LSA, and I'd like to welcome all of you to our webinar series. Today's webinar is titled Mobile's Here, Now What? And will be brought to you by our guest presenter, Faith Murphy from Yahoo. So, with that, let's get started. Over to you, Faith.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. So, today we're going to start talking about mobile because it's officially here. That means from a business-to-business marketing standpoint and a business-to-customer standpoint. So as Joe said, I'm Faith Murphy. I'm actually our Channel Sales and Reseller Network Director here at Yahoo. So I work with larger companies that are working with small businesses and working with them from their end-to-end marketing needs. But then I also now work directly with small businesses and trying to help them manage through Yahoo's new Gemini platform. So our agenda is going to be pretty straightforward today. We're going to walk through the why mobile matters, kind of give you some tips and tricks, or give you some data insights into what's been going on in the mobile marketplace. Then we're going to go through some really high-level best practices for mobile, and then we're going to give a walkthrough, and I'm going to introduce you to Yahoo Gemini. And then towards the end, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. So let's start. Why does mobile matter? How many of you, I mean, really at this point, so many of us have actually moved from this nice digital alarm clock and we've moved to a cell phone most likely. And that's our first interaction for the day. Our cell phones, our mobile phones, our tablets have actually probably the piece that you're getting, and when you wake up in the morning, your alarm goes off, you roll over, and you're checking text messages, you're checking your news, your weather, your social. It's our first interaction. And it's the place where it's our one stop for everything that matters to us. And as marketers, either from small businesses trying to attract new clients or companies trying to attract small businesses to use their products, you need to be present where your target customer is. And right now, they're on smartphones and tablets. And if we start to think, if mobile is not actually part of your advertising strategy today, hopefully by the end of this webinar, it will be. So let's go in and let's start talking about some of the trends that have happened over the last year. So when we start to think about the effectiveness of digital marketing, according to small business owners, almost 75% of SMBs think that digital advertising is an effective way for them to attract new customers. And then at that, almost 50% say that it's been really successful for them. And when they define success, it means that they've been able to target the audience, and it's been helping them to attract new customers. And when we think about where is an SMB going to go and start to spend more money, and what channels are they going to look at for expanding their digital marketing, it's always going to be on their website. But then we're also going to be focusing on email, social, video, SEO, search ads, and mobile ads. And now we're going to go and take a deeper dive into the search ads and mobile ads portion. So in 2014, we spent $9 billion on the mobile search spend. That's about 38% of their digital ads advertising. As we look at what's going to happen over the next 5 years, 50% of spend in 2015 is going to go towards digital ads. And that's 13. It's going to go towards mobile ads. It's going to be at $13 billion. And why is this happening? It's because we've been talking about this for some time, but it's actually finally here. In 2015, mobile searches will eclipse desktop searches. For marketers, this is actually really important for us because we're hitting that tipping point. But why we've hit that tipping point from a search standpoint, what we need to understand is that the return on investment has not quite hit that same tipping point. ROI on mobile search is still improving, but it's going to continue to trail desktop search for probably the next year or so. But that performance will get better as we increase our attribution, as we get more precise on how to track what that mobile experience is looking like as we move it a little bit more offline. So when we start to think about mobile, it actually starts, when you think mobile, you should be thinking local at the same time. 86% of mobile internet users use search from their mobile device. And we're spending 9 billion minutes a month. And we're doing most of our activity is actually happening on the weekends and in the early evenings, which kind of makes sense as you start to think about how you're interacting with your mobile phone on a daily basis. But then at the same time, what we also can see is that 96% of smartphone owners access the internet daily. 87% are using that search engine at least once per day. And 45%, about 45% of those searches being conducted are happening at least twice a day. And what you see here is that it's not just happening while we're on the go. While the mobile device it's kind of everywhere with us, a good portion of our searches are still actually happening at home. But this is what but those searches are happening on a mobile device when usually a desktop is available to them. So all this time that we're spending on our phone, it's not just to be checking Facebook and Farmville and doing our Instagram. It's actually become, it's actually starting to broaden our minds. And it's introducing us to new brands along with producing better buying decisions and reminding us that there's other brands to consider. And as a marketer, we can't forget the importance of SEO and SEM when they're done together. You know, as a small business, there's the opportunity where they'll say, which one should I focus on? Always be focusing on both an SEO and an SEM standpoint, because right now what you'll see here is that mobile search ads, it's increasing brand awareness and consideration. And 40% of people who are exposed to both search ads and organic are more likely to click on the organic when it comes to the brand. On that same time, 46% said that a search ad can persuade them to consider new brands. So this is where those two worlds are still coming together, and they're still really important. They're as important as when you're doing your desktop now as for mobile. So we spent a good amount of time talking about kind of the mobile ads piece, but as of life, everything has to evolve, and so has our mobile native, so is our mobile format. And now we have to introduce to you native. So native is a paid ad that is cohesive with the page content, assimilated into the design, and is consistent with the platform behavior that the viewer simply feels that it belongs. And if you think about this, search, this was the original native ad way back when we first started with pay-per-click advertising. So we have our first poll question, and we want to know from the group, how many people currently use native ads?
So it looks like with the results showing now, to the question, do you use native ads or plan to use native ads in the coming year? About 35% currently do, about 40% plan to within the next year, and about 20% do not use and do not plan to use.
So that's actually really, those are some really good numbers here. So it does look like more than half of you, so it looks about a quarter of you are doing it currently, and really by the end of this year, more than half of you plan on building strategies around it. For those of you who are not doing it yet, let's talk a little bit more on let's say what is native, because I think that's always the interesting piece here. So most of you are probably actually really familiar with what it looks like on Facebook, and you probably have also seen it on Twitter. But now what you see here on that little first box is Yahoo has come up also with this compelling ad format. And really, it is about content and images and gathering and really continuing to engage with your customer. So what we're seeing is that when we first started talking today, we talked about digital ad spend and that people are going to go and increase this to 50%. You know, moving from 38% to 50% in 2015. That 12% increase, this is where it's going. 52% of advertisers, of marketers, are looking to increase their display native offerings, and about 47% are looking to increase their search ads. 66% are either currently using it, or currently using native, with 34% saying that they're probably not. So our little 6% here is part of our 34. But why are people choosing native? And really, there's kind of two big pieces here. It's providing a more relevant message, and you're able to increase consumer engagement. Native is falling within the content stream, and the ads are really targeted to the right user at the right time, kind of being really able to do more. You're really capitalizing on what are their behaviors, what are their interests, and because of that, you're providing a more relevant message that's leading to that increased engagement. And native ads are actually, we've seen them, but they're already performing better than traditional banner ads. Over 50% of consumers look at native more frequently than display ads. Again, it's because it's in our content stream. It's right where we're looking all day long. And 30% of our respondents said that native ad is an ad that they would actually share with a friend. Again, it's a compelling message. There's an image involved with it. It has a little bit of, it's a little bit more newsworthy than maybe just a text ad is. And then 20% of our respondents here said that it has shows that it has an 18% higher lift in the purchase intent and a 9% higher lift for brand affinity responses than what their brand advertising was doing. And native ads, they perform really well. They perform well on desktop, but they're performing even better on mobile. We're seeing a 7 times CTR increase. So now we've kind of gone through. We've talked about the trends of where mobile is. We've talked about what native ads are looking like and why people are spending the time and energy to focus on this new ad format. But now we're going to go through some high-level best practices, and there's really 5 key areas that we're going to look at. And we're going to dig into the objectives first. But this is a really important piece. As you guys, as all marketers and as all marketing activities you do, before you dig in and you start any sort of campaign, step back and take the 5 minutes to see what are your goals, what are your objectives. And once you understand what you're trying to achieve, are you looking for clicks, are you looking for leads, are you looking for phone calls, then you want to start with developing your campaign. So we have kind of three objectives that you're trying to shoot for. So one is visit my website. You're trying to drive more clicks, you want more visitors, you want more sales, more of that direct response activity. The best method for you is a cost per click model, and you're really going to then sit there and you're going to optimize by your CTR, your bids, your budgeting, and your targeting. That's where you're going to spend a majority of your time. So let's say you're kind of a bigger advertiser. Maybe you're more of a national brand. And this is your opportunity. You want to say, I want to focus more on my brand. I want to get my message out there. I want to hit as many people as possible. Not really too worried about how many clicks I get, how many phone calls on the back end. There's also a CPM model, which is your cost per 1,000 impressions. And here, very similar, you are going to optimize to bids, budget, and targeting, but you're not as focused on the CTR aspect of it. And then if you do apps, and this is a really unique area within this industry, and especially from a native advertising standpoint, is you can now do direct advertising for app downloads. And here we have a cost per click model. And then again, now you really are going to be optimizing for CTR, bids, budget, and targeting again. So let's step back to the next part of after our objectives, which is targeting. And there's really, when we think about targeting, you want to be strategic. You don't want to limit your reach because you want to make sure you're getting the right advertisers. And there's really 3 ways that you look at this. You're looking at people located in an area, people searching for, and people interested in. So when we think about people located in, here's a couple tips and tricks here. One, you really want to try campaigns without and with location targeting. You really want to make sure you're testing some ad copy that's reflecting that location targeting. So if you're in Los Angeles, California, then you want to make sure that you're putting Los Angeles, California somewhere in your ad copy. And then as you're kind of going through this, if you notice some of those top performing locations, start to optimize accordingly to capture more traffic. Just like we do with all aspects of our campaigns, it is a constant piece of reviewing, of looking at your metrics, defining what your metrics are, and analyzing those metrics, and then making changes to those metrics. So then we talk about people searching for. And really, this is where you want to add more keywords to appear more often. You want to carefully review your top performing keywords and consider the intent to help inform your targeting. But not only is it a targeting piece, but also start thinking about your ad copy. Does your ad copy complete the message? If you're noticing the same thing as it with locations, if you're noticing top performing keywords over time, you want to optimize accordingly to capture more traffic. And when we say optimize, it's not just for your pay-per-click campaigns, but also for your optimization efforts, for your search engine optimization. It's kind of a full circle here. Bringing in keywords, bring them into making sure that you have those on your meta tag standpoint for the back end, but also continue to make sure that you're bidding on the appropriate keywords. And an important part here is don't limit your reach by being too specific. You want to go big and broad with your keywords. And then kind of the last piece is people interested in, and this is where native gets really interested, because you get to basically play with some of the display opportunities of targeting in with intent, but still get to pay actually at a CPC or a CPM level. So you really want to select a specific audience interest to help you reach that target audience. An example with this would be if you are a home contractor, then you want to be targeting people that are into home and garden, home repairs. And really, something to think about is that if you have different strategies, for your different audiences, then you want to create those separate campaigns so you can capture those different audiences and you can tailor the message to those individuals. And same thing, if you start to notice those top performing audiences over time, you need to optimize accordingly in order to capture more traffic for them. So the budget strategy. This is always a fun one because I think everybody always says to us, what should I start my bids at? I think really the key piece here is analyze your bidding strategy to ensure you're set to hit your goals. If you have an aggressive CPA of say $3, but you're bidding $1 per click, you would then need an improbable 33% conversion rate to hit your goal. So you want to make sure you're analyzing that bidding strategy to make sure it's an effective one that's really going to meet your goals. And again, you also really want to make sure that you're relying on good bidding tools and optimization tools. Now for the fun piece, the part that says, here it is, you've done all this back-end work, this is what gets shown to your potential users. So now we want to talk about ad creative. There are 3 components to your ad. So when you're doing native, it's an image ad, a title, and description. And when you're doing mobile search ads, it's a title and description. And when it comes down to what the users see, these are the 3 main components. Your title, along with the image, will draw the user in. The description gives the user enough info to kind of close that deal, and the image brings it all together, and it ties together your overall message. So when we talk about creative, there's a couple best practices that you want to take advantage of. So you want to think beyond a logo, and you want to use a compelling image. Use a face. If you're an auto dealer, use a car, kind of a big fancy car to show them that it's like coming around a track. If you're, you really want to compel them to say, oh, that's a nice ad. I want to click on that. And then some guidelines is you want to make sure you're using a high quality image. You want to avoid the annoying elements. You don't want to have like lots of exclamation points. You don't want to have, you don't want to have things that aren't allowed. So in the world of most search, you don't want to have suggested nudity on there. You don't want loud colors. You want to make it a cohesive design. Think about when you're doing display or when you're doing your website design. It's those same best practices that you want to take over to your image ads. And then you want to do minimal text in your images. Logos are okay, but think beyond the logo. And then when we think about our titles, there's 2 things that we're looking here to do. Your ad text should say, your ad text should be either asking a question or solving a problem. The one thing about search in general is someone has done a search for you, they've come looking for you, so try to anticipate what they're looking for, and then you're going to try to answer that within the space that you have. The guidelines here are very straightforward, very similar to how it is on all search engines. You have to use your title case. You really want to make sure that you're taking use of the full use of your character links available to you. And then you also want to leverage your targeting. And then for your description, like I said, this is kind of pulling it all together. So you want to make sure it reads like a sentence and it reads naturally. It directly relates to your products or services, bringing it all full circle. And same thing for the guidelines. You want to use your sentence case. You want to make use of your characters. And again, your ad copy is your first experience to a potential customer, just like when you pick up the phone and you say hello, that's your first introduction to a customer. You want to make sure that you don't have any misspellings, that it's a full sentence. It's not it's the reason why someone wants to do business with you. This is their first impression to say, I trust you, I want to do business with you. And then on your landing pages, you want to make sure you're reflecting your product and service. You need to make sure you're going to be mobile friendly. It's an important piece. We're talking about mobile. You either want a mobile responsive site or you want the mobile experience. And also be user friendly. And then from a guideline standpoint, make sure you have a page make sure you have a title and a product description for when you're landing on what you're advertising. Make sure you have make sure that the call to action is easy. If they're supposed to have a phone call, make sure the phone number is easily available. If you're trying to get them to fill out a lead form, make sure that they can click the lead form right away. As I said before, this is all about showing signs of trust. It's your first introduction to new clients. And then kind of our next area that we need to focus on is ad testing. So these best practices follow through from probably stuff that you've already been doing. But you want to make sure you're testing various components and monitor the performance. You really should be refreshing those ads on a weekly to bi-weekly basis. That means you really want to be putting in new images, trying new copy. Keep the image, but change out your title and description, and kind of play back and forth with those opportunities. And then a really big one is you really want to make sure you're creating those separate campaigns for those seasonal or those limited time offers. Again, this all kind of comes back to you have an opportunity to be in front of your advertiser and give them a really cohesive and engaging message. This is how you take advantage of that. So we've just spent a good amount of time talking about mobile, talked a lot about the data that goes along behind it. We've talked about the best practices. And now I want to spend a couple more minutes, and I want to introduce to you Yahoo Gemini, which is really our first marketplace, or our marketplace where we're able to combine mobile search ads and the native advertising. So we're going to give you an overview, give you a little high level about how it works, and then I'm actually going to share with you some success stories. And these success stories are from both a small business perspective and from an agency perspective. So you can kind of see where this trend is going and how mobile is, and how Gemini is the perfect fit for a small to medium business. So every month, more than 1 billion people come and visit Yahoo to search, read news, and more. Your customers are out there. We have our native ads, and we have our search ads. So as we said before, the native ads, they have the image, they're sitting within your content stream. And then your search ads are happening on the mobile experience, and it's going through the search bar and putting in a search. Your ads will appear where people are searching for things. And they're also going to appear when people are checking their email. And then they're going to see them when they're reading their news, and they're checking their sports scores, checking their stock quotes. Really, your ads are appearing across the phone, the tablet, and the desktop on Yahoo owned and operated properties, and some of our new key partnerships that we've made over the last few months. And really, working on Gemini is really easy. We are seamlessly blending the ads your ads that you create with the right content for the right audience. So very similar to what we were just talking about, it's targeting. So pick to see who gets to see your ad. Cost, you get to choose the budget that works for you from either a CPC, a CPM, or a click per the CPC or the CPM metric. And then you get to see how it's all doing on the back end with all of our reporting. So very similar. You may have just seen this. You want to choose your objective again. Like we said, if you're gonna either do the choose your website, you're gonna say I know my brand, or you're gonna say I want to download my app. And then you're gonna create the ad that's appropriate to you here. You're gonna be able to upload your image. Again, you get to choose, and then you can see, you can go and see what that image is gonna look like on a smartphone, on a tablet, or on the desktop experience. And then you get to start to define who your audience is. So you go and say, from the targeting standpoint, where are your people located? You get to choose your language. Where are these people? You can choose some demographics. So do you want male, female, everybody? People are interested in. So this is what we're talking about. You now have the opportunity to dig in and say, I'm a plumber. I want to make sure I'm targeting people that are interested in home and garden lifestyle activities. And then people searching for. You can start to give a handful of keywords for your native advertising that really starts to describe your product. And then you get to set your budget. So it's the cost per click model or the CPM model. You get to set your campaign budget, so you either get to do it per day or in total. And then you can do your ad scheduling. Do you want them to start running right away, or do you want to start them in a few days from now? And then lastly, after you've kind of done that, you're up and running, seeing the good metrics. Now you get to see how you're doing. And our reporting is pretty comprehensive. You get to see how many impressions, how many clicks, what that CTR is, how much you've spent, what your average cost is. And all of this, you can go and, all very customizable. You can go and change the graphs to see what the metrics are most important to you. So with that, I wanted to take a few minutes and we want to talk about some success stories. So one of our success stories comes from Ad Rescueware, and essentially they're a small business that was able to see a huge increase from traffic once they started with Yahoo Gemini. So the quote here from the co-owner was, "The day we launched Yahoo Gemini, our website got the most traffic and generated the most orders that we've ever seen." Again, they were able to go in, capitalize on marketing or setting a message to the industries that they were looking for, or the advertisers, the users that they were looking for. And what they started to see was a 20% increase in website visitors, and they saw a 10% increase in website sales. So then we have Web Metro, was another one we did a case study with, and they're an agency focused on small businesses primarily. And what they were able to do with Yahoo Gemini was they were able to deliver more sales leads to their end clients at a lower cost. So one of their senior marketing managers responded with, "We've seen performance of Yahoo Gemini surpass other major ad platforms. We see this as a game changer." And even in my own world, this is actually very much something we see. The cost per click on Gemini for mobile search has been, in some cases, up to 40% less than what they've been paying for on other platforms when it comes to the mobile search standpoint. And Web Metro saw a 40% increase in leads that came from Gemini, and they saw an 80% CPC decrease compared to other channels. And we know, for those who are familiar with already playing in the mobile space, mobile is already a cheaper cost per click, but when you start to put in the native piece, and now you see mobile ads and native being substantially less, it starts to be a game changer where you can start to expand and start to break out and look at new formats for your digital advertising. And then one of our last case studies here is Chariot, where this was a website was able to get most of its traffic now coming from Gemini. And And their key takeaway is that we've concluded that Yahoo is the best choice for reaching our consumer audience. They were focused here on highlighting intent and making sure they were getting the right advertisers, or they were pushing their brand out to new target audiences, and they were able to deliver the traffic back because of that. And with that, they saw a 75% increase in referral traffic, and they saw 2 times the increase in website visitors.
Okay, so we just have a few announcements here. For all of you business owners that are on the call, I wanted to let you know that on April 19th in LA, we're hosting a digital boot camp, and it's co-sponsored by Yahoo, Google, GoDaddy, Yelp, YP, and others. The event's a unique opportunity to get practical, objective advice on digital marketing from leading experts and to get your specific questions answered by these companies. It's just $30 to attend, and lunch will be served. So for more info on that, you can visit www.thelsa.org/bootcamp. And then for all the marketing experts on the call, we do have exhibiting opportunities for the Digital Bootcamp event. However, space is limited. So email us at communications@thelsa.org for more info. Don't forget that our 2015 LSA conference in LA, April 20th through the 22nd, is coming up. Faith will actually be there with her Yahoo team, and we will also have some reps from Google, Estimote, Moz, Xad, GoDaddy, ReachLocal, Vendasta, and a whole bunch more. So for more info on that, you can visit localsearchassociation.org. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.